Michael Blackson found himself in hot water over the weekend after he tweeted a joke about WNBA star Britney Griner. On Friday, Blackson would tweet, "When Britney Griner gets out, I want to be the first one to give her some D." Many found the tweet to be insensitive and offensive, especially considering Griner has just been sentenced to 9 years in prison after carrying a vape containing cannabis oil into Russia. Despite the negative reaction, Blackson stood by his joke by posting a picture of himself and Griner back in 2017. In another tweet, Blackson said, "I don't care how soft y'all want comedians to be. I'm not changing for no one. I make fun of any and everyone. I know this can never happen to me, but I need y'all to lighten up." Today we have our comedy hype analysts, Capone and Pierre, calling to the show to give their thoughts and reactions. Now, Pierre, I want to come to you. I know there's a lot to dissect here, but I want to back us up a little bit and talk about Britney Griner. When you first heard the news of her being sentenced for 9 years, what was your thoughts and reactions to that?
To be honest with you, I thought it was excess, really excess for the amount and the amount she brought, had the little vape. And then I started, trying to find out if that's the rule they have over there for vape pens across the board. But again, who am I to say what they can do with their laws? We have laws that other companies don't like and respect either. We do things over here that they don't like. So if they come over here and mess it up, then it is what it is. I just thought the sentence is way heavy for anybody, for any country to put on somebody for having a vape pen. I really believe it's political, which I'm quite sure it is. We were defending the Ukraine when they were Russia was trying to do something against, invade Ukraine. So, it's a shame that she's the pawn in the middle of some BS political stuff. And that's what it really is, comes at the end of the day, because they could have slapped her off with a fine, 2 months in jail and let her come back. But 9 years, they're just trying to make an example of her and use her as a pawn. And it's a shame that she, the sister got caught in the middle of this stuff.
Absolutely. Capone, I want to bring that same question to you. When you first heard the news break of Britney Griner being sentenced to 9 years, what was your reaction to it?
I feel the same way Pierre feels. I think that it was definitely too much time. It's definitely also a political thing from them wanting one of the Russians to get released. And, they saying even trade or whatever the situation is. But the mere fact of there was another young lady who got caught with hardcore drugs and she only got 6 months and she was a white lady. So even when you think about the racism and all the other stuff that goes along with it, it is pretty harsh how they're treating her.
Yeah, Capone, I think you bring up a great point because a lot of people that are having this conversation, it's easy to go to the double standard when it comes to men and women, but I think there are double standards in so many departments, and it's so difficult to unpack this, right? Because you have the man and woman dynamic, then you have the everyday Joe or, someone from another side, a white person, as we saw in the case that you mentioned, but there's also this wondering if she had a higher status, would this play out different? Would we see America fighting a little bit harder? I know ASAP Rocky, a little bit different situation, but we saw Trump step down and get him out of jail and not have to go through this entire sentence. So I'll start back with you, Pierre. Do you think, looking at all those double standards, do you think it's just a power play, or what are your thoughts on it when we're trying to unpack why we're seeing this happen the way that we're seeing it happen, especially with America not stepping in as much?
Well, I don't know. With the ASAP Rocky and Trump thing, Trump's a gangster. He wasn't no real president. So he's gonna move his way the way he wants to move. Whatever we talk about him bad enough, he's gonna help us out. If we don't, it's what it is with him. So, had he been a more stand-up president, he might have jumped for ASAP Rocky like that. Put himself in between that little stuff. But Trump's a gangster, so it was what it was. But we've had some white political people over there. White people over there for espionage. She was over there. That's why, she's lucky that they have a white guy over there to help get her released if she's going to get released because this guy was, in the service, a Navy guy, whatever it was. So we're going to show that, hey, we got to get both of them out, really pulling the white boy out more than anything else out. He's been out there because, the Army we don't want to show that we kept a guy who served our country over there and then come pull him out. So we got to pull her and him out at the same time. So she's lucky because she was by herself and only her over there. It would be really worse, but she has a chance of coming back home because of that. We're going to maybe switch it up, switch their arms dealer, because they had a guy over there. We have a guy here who's an arms dealer who put a lot of guns on the streets and in our world. You know, in these streets, these guns in these streets of the United States are from this arm dealer that they're trying to release, or Russia's trying to release and bring back to Russia. Ooh, his guns have killed a lot of people, but we're willing to change it because of that white boy too, the white guy over there, and put Britney underneath it. Because if it wasn't for that, Britney and that arms dealer would not have worked. They just said, no, we ain't doing that. So I think she will get out within, a year or two, I believe. It'll be exchanged.
Capone, I want you to chime in on that. I know you touched on it a little bit, but when we're looking at all these double standards and all these, how do you unpack it? You know, when we're saying what's to happen next? I know Pierre kind of went right into it, but what are your thoughts? I want to see where you're thinking as well.
Basically, the race card plays a big thing in every country when it comes down to Black people, and for some reason, I can't pinpoint it, but it seems like people in higher power refuse to talk about this type of stuff. You know, a Black woman, whether she played ball, whether she was a secretary, she had a vape. How much, like Pierre said, I don't know what the consequences are for a vape, but I know it shouldn't serve no 9 years. And being that this racism, and I don't even know what the gay political thing is. They could be really against gay people over there. So there's a lot of different things that plays into this. But the one thing that I see that works over here that they don't give a damn about over there is the LGB. They don't care about them. You can protest, you can walk the line, you can cancel all you want to. They're gonna handle themselves the way they handle themselves. And that's the way I see it now.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of canceling, you know, as I mentioned earlier, Michael Blackson would go on to make a tweet about Britney Griner saying that when she comes home, I want to be the first one that gives her the D. And a couple people responded. One responder saying, it is high time to cancel Michael Blackson. He has repeatedly degraded Black America culture for decades. Twitter drags Michael Blackson after he makes an unsavory joke about Britney Griner. Another user says, Britney Griner is locked up and probably scared for her life. Also a known lesbian. Michael Blackson felt it was appropriate to make a joke about giving her D and doesn't understand why it's possibly inappropriate. Pierre, I want to come back to you. You know, we're seeing a lot of backlash coming to Michael Blackson. And I think there's a couple layers here too. Do you think he's receiving some of this backlash because it's not funny? Or do you think, you know, there's some true intentions behind it of why people are truly upset?
I'll answer that 1 second. Let me say this to Black folks, Black people, especially Black people. If you if you want to try, either stay home in the United States, you know, then that you can go with that. But if you're going to travel abroad, please, I hope this is a wake-up call for you guys. You can't act like you in the United States smoking weed, whatever it can be, whatever you think. You have to understand other countries don't play that. Don't get so caught up in America where you can do what you want to, you know, to a certain limit and go over there. You ain't gonna be hollering no 14, 15, 16-year-old girl over there, fellas. You ain't gonna take a girl to your hotel rooms because you wanted to. All that. Look at the laws over there in different countries when you travel. Please don't go there with open mind. I can do what I want. I'm about to get drunk in the middle of the street. I'm about to get lit up. I'm about to get fucked up. Don't do that. Other countries don't play. So for everybody who wants to travel and who's gonna travel out of the country, see what their laws are for what you're about to do, the best you can, so you don't put yourself in that same position. That's all I'm asking. So you can't sit there locked up. I didn't know I couldn't smoke weed on the street. They don't play certain things. I'm not gonna run around naked in the street. I don't care not to get drunk. They don't play certain things here. They play here. So that's just a cautionary tale for my folks going overseas. Please be cognizant of their laws and look at them as best you can. All right. Now with the Michael Blackson thing, man, he's a comedian. Yeah, sometimes some jokes are not going to fly for everybody. They're not going to be happy. But you know what? Keep on moving. Comics, keep on being funny. Keep doing what you want to do. If it's not funny for you, it might be funny for someone else. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay for that person. You know, you can protest online and say you're wrong. You don't like it. But comics, keep fighting this fight, brother. And sisters, be who you are. Be funny. If people don't like your material, keep fighting it until people who like you will come see you. Everybody who doesn't think Kevin Hart's funny, he ain't gonna stop. Everybody don't think Dave Chappelle ain't funny, or me, or Capone. Keep fighting the fight of humor. If it's not working for you and you think it's inappropriate, that's you. But the comic thinks it's cool, it's comedy. If you don't want to take it from that, it's okay. Come on now.
Capone, I want to get your thoughts on it as well. Seeing Michael Blackson receive this backlash, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's just because the tweet wasn't funny, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to be honest with you, the joke wasn't the joke. It was the visual. The visual was what caught me. And for him to say that and then visualize it actually, just not even taking place, just being a thought, was hilarious to me. And she's a woman. I understand she's gay or whatever, but she's a woman, and the visual was funny, and that's the way I took it. I didn't think about the joke hurting nobody or anything like that. I thought straight up this 8-foot tall woman and 5-foot Michael Blackson together. It wasn't even naked. It was just together.
I got you. Now, Lil Duval will also kind of touch on some of the things both of you touched on by saying, we can say the same exact thing on stage and everybody laughs, but on social media, where everybody is mostly unhappy, it's like y'all choose to be offended. I want to ask you, and I'll actually start with you, Capone. Is it frustrating for you, not even just Michael Blackson, but just different comedians to be, criticized online where, on stage that joke might have flew and people might have laughed? Is it frustrating for you as a comedian to see that unfold on social media?
Well, I think people become overly brave on social media. I think that social media gives people the right to, no, well, not the right, but it gives people a lot of confidence that they wouldn't normally have in person. So for me personally, I've learned, and I had to learn. Let me make that very clear. You don't have to pay attention to social media. They don't know you. It used to be a time where they would say something about me and I would get angry, even to the point where I would look for the person that said it. And that's unnecessary. So I don't let it bother me. I train myself to allow whatever they have to say to go over my head.
Pierre, I bring that same question to you. What are your thoughts? As a comedian, is it frustrating to see Michael Blackson kind of receiving this backlash via social media where, on stage it may be a different story?
It's not frustrating at all. We all have a right for our opinion. Some people don't think, some people don't feel that a Bentley or Rolls Royce is a nice looking car or a good car. They shouldn't stop making Bentley because you don't like it, because your Kia, Ford driving ass don't like a Bentley. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like it, that's on you. So no, as an artist, I'm gonna do me. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Have your opinion. But I got to go with the fans who love me. I've learned that I'm not gonna please everybody. I don't please everybody on here. But you know what? I please people on here. I can't walk down the street without people telling me, man, I love what you do on Comedy Hype. I love your opinion. I love what you're doing, brother. You funny as hell on Comedy Hype. Now there's people in the comments will say, you ain't all that funny. It's okay. Because when I walk down the street, people tell me all the time how great I am on this show. And that's why I'm on this show. Because I'm great on this show. Now, you don't have to like what I just said. You don't have to like it. You can comment, you ain't shit. That's okay. I'm not going nowhere until God takes me off this thing. But you're not going to let me off the show. So as comics, we're not going nowhere. I'm going to keep telling jokes the way I want to tell them. If you like them, you like them. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. If you don't, it's okay. Comment. But make sure you keep my name in your mouth. Just my name.
It is always a joy to have you both on. You always give me a good laugh for sure. No, but I do appreciate you both chiming in on this topic. I know there was, a lot to unpack and unfold here, but I do appreciate your insight as well. So thank you both for joining us. Before we head out, I do want to know what you have coming up. Pierre, I'll start with you. What do you have coming up and how can people follow you?
Another new episode of my podcast. Again, shout out for all those who enjoyed the George Wallace and Bruce one recently on Pierre's Panic Room on YouTube. I got Jerry O'Connell, the guy from Stand By Me, the little short, chubby guy from Stand By Me this week. I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina for a big comedy show on the 24th, August 27th, Raleigh, North Carolina, big concert with me and a whole bunch of comedians. And that's really it right there for that part.
Capone, I know you just left out of Atlanta, but what else do you have coming up and how can people follow you?
I'm heading to Cleveland, the Improv in Cleveland. And we'll talk about after that, where I'm going from there. I'm trying to get a vacation. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I look forward to seeing the pictures. I look forward to seeing both of y'all on vacation and relaxing. But I appreciate y'all for chiming in on this topic. I think it's a big one and something that, a lot of people were afraid to talk about, but I think being able to have the conversation brings more awareness to it. So thank you both for chiming in on this one. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Michael Blackson receiving backlash about his Britney Griner joke? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments.
And prayers to Britney Griner and her family.